what draws you to atmospheric processes like this? And I guess on top of that, what have you learned from letting the fire and the flame leave their marks on your pieces? What to you? What's like the difference maker in all that?
Oh man. That's such a uh we're all just a bunch of pyros. We like playing with the fire and so like
Yeah.
there's that element of like, okay, cool, like I get to poke fire and make cool things happen. But also it's like this collaboration with this element that people have been trained to be afraid of. I mean, nowadays most people have electric stoves and the only time people interact with fire is around a campfire, and it was such a huge part of our ancestry as human beings to like be around a fire. It's warmth, it's protection, it's light, and to reconnect with that element and make it a permanent part of my artwork process and a part of my pots is really really interesting to me. And so that element of working with the fire is super appealing. The concept of leaning into a tradition and keeping it alive is really, really interesting to me. Wood fired pots and soda fired pots are not efficient at all.
Mm, yeah.
They're not, it's not an efficient way of making pottery, but choosing to do it anyway to keep that tradition alive and to have that effect on my pots is really interesting. Community, you cannot fire these kilns on your own. You know, I mean, you've been there on shift. Wood firing takes a team, and it creates. It's so fun. Like you get to hang out, and being around a fire, it just changes the vibe. There's just such a meaningful connection that comes from that. That's just super super interesting to me. It's like the best campfire you've ever been to, and like you get to make really cool artwork while you're doing it. Process is really fun. The labor of it, I find really, really interesting. I like manual labor. I like stacking wood. I like stacking bricks. I like loading the kiln and unloading the kiln, and it's very tiring. It's very exhausting. It's a lot of work to stay up 6 hours for a shift from midnight to 6 a.m. stoking this kiln, and you're exhausted and you're tired, but you'll also have to like be thinking about the kiln and like, why is it not reaching temp? Let's try this. Let's experiment with this. Let's do that. Let's do that. And it's just this like all encompassing process that you need to be present for. And this process just forces people to be present. You have to be here. You have to be listening to the fire. You have to be listening to the kiln in order to like really understand what's going on and try to get the kiln to do what you want it to do.
Yeah. So knowing that so many musicians listen to this, primarily musicians listen, I don't know if so many, I don't know how many people listen to this podcast, but knowing that most of the listeners are musicians, I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts on what you just said, which is listening to the fire. I mean, what do you get from listening to a fire throughout this process?
Ooh. So while we're firing the wood kiln, you have to be listening to the crackle of the fire, right? So that gas that's coming off of the wood, um, as soon as you stoke it, that wood ignites, you hear that crackle, that pop. And as soon as it starts dying down, dying down, dying down, then you know how to stoke it. And there's like a timing that happens, and depending on what part of the firing that changes, but listening to the fire and like literally like listening to it, but also like, what does the fire want to do? Is it heating up the front of the kiln faster than the back? Is it heating the back faster than the front? And so listening in the sense of like being attentive to what it's saying, because it feels like a collaboration with the fire. We can't really control it. We can try to do our best to encourage things to happen. There's a way of like, okay, if I stoke it this pattern, it'll reach this temperature this way. But sometimes it just doesn't want to do what you want it to do.
Right. Yeah, I'm guessing that there's so many elements that, I mean, like the temperature outside maybe, or the humidity in the air probably has something to do with it. I mean, we could probably spend a couple hours just talking about this, which we will later. we won't subject everyone to that, but yeah, I absolutely loved just the process. Like I could get total garbage as results. again, it's reliably beautiful. You just don't know what you're going to get. But
Mm,
even if the results to me were like complete garbage, I just loved, playing with fire, basically, like you
mm,
said. I mean, I loved,
mm.
the process of noticing and paying attention to what's happening and all the different moving parts to it. And, the fact that if you're on the team starting the fire, starting the process, it's a very different vibe from the team who's finishing it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or compared to like the vibe of the people in the middle of the night, like in the middle of the process. So just absolutely love all of it. And I will hopefully do one again sometime soon for people listening, wondering. But I'm curious, like, because you've done this so frequently. I mean, are there any pieces of your own work that stand out to you that have come out of these processes that are especially memorable or surprised you in ways that like you could never have even imagined going through this process?
I mean, there's at least one pot from every firing that really, really stands out to me. But recently, I mean, everything that stands out has been in this residency just because I've been able to have so much time and focus to make. But there was this one cup that I made. It was a titanium flashing slip that I had gotten, not my own recipe, but I put it on the pot, and it was my first pot that I really could see the growth in my work. I'm trying to get looser with my clay, trying to get looser with my throwing, to show the history more and to have more atmospheric surface on my pots. And this little cup that came out, it had this beautiful like flashing, and there's titanium crystals on it, and you could see the dramatic throwing lines on it, and it had a foot that I really enjoyed, and there's a little bevel on the lip, and the inside glaze just worked. And like everything in that little pot, that little humble little cup, just kind of was like, oh, hell yeah. Like, yeah, I am like growing my work. Um, that was really, really fun. There's also a teapot that I made during my time at Penland. I was at Penland for 2 weeks for Linda Christensen's pencil pot workshop, and she was teaching us how to be more pensive with our work. And there was this one teapot that I made that had a little dinosaur on it on the top, a strainer, and it was a new clay body that I hadn't worked with before, high iron, and it just kind of looked like a little genie bottle to me. And having that
Mm,
little dinosaur on top was kind of
yeah,
like a little bit of fun. And taking this form that wanted to be proper in the sense of like we're gonna sit down with our teacups and have a tea time whatever, instead of like, oh yeah, I have a beer stein that I'm gonna like throw back with.
right.
um and taking that element of like where the situation that the pot wanted to be, and taking that away with adding this like little dinosaur on top was like, okay, like I get to control the setting that the pot wants to be in, which is really fun. And like having that juxtaposition of these different aspects of the pot. And that was just like a really interesting experiment and realization on my part of, oh, I get to like get to play. I get to play with this medium and have cool things come out with it.
I remember seeing you post that on your Instagram, and I was like, "Oh, I like this." I like
it's
just
gotten a it's gotten a lot of mixed reviews.
mixed review. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I like it. So,
Oh, I love it.
thank you so much for tuning in to Micromaker by Loose Leaf Transmissions. We hope you enjoyed this brief glimpse into the inner workings of the creative life. If this resonated with you, be sure to check out the full conversation on Music Maker with Tyler Klein, a podcast exploring craft and process, philosophy and inspiration, and the honest, often messy parts of being an artist, creative uncertainty, purpose and identity, and resilience. You can find Music Maker wherever you get your podcasts or by visiting musicmakerpodcast.com.